Okay, so we finally have, I'm just going to check the sound levels before we get going. Yeah, it's all looking good. I finally unlocked some things worth doing in career mode in Flight Simulator. So after trudging through the basic Cessna flights for some time, I amassed enough credits earlier this afternoon to start my own company. And I think it was 10,000 to start a company, and then it was 25,000 to get a second-hand Cessna or something around that. But the Cessna needed fixing, so it became kind of a millstone immediately. But having done that, once I had fixed up a Cessna, I could then go and do freelance missions, which meant I earned all of the money. So I was no longer a paid employee. But obviously it's at my own risk. If I crash the aircraft, then I lose the aircraft and I would have to buy another one. But as you can see, even after doing a few more certifications, I've still got a lot of money left in the bank. So I have unlocked the Turboprop engine rating and the jet engine rating, and I thought this evening we might go and do the airline transport pilot license, which I've already bought, but I haven't actually gone and done the test yet. So let's go and get that out of the way, and then we'll see what we get in the way of missions available to us and what money we might be able to make. So this is quite a interesting flight here. So going across Washington, aren't we? Yeah, I recognised it on the map before I read it. Okay, so we'll just say we'll have a go at it. So this is the Air Transport Pilot License certification. So none of these certifications seem to be particularly difficult. Of course, I've set myself up for failure in saying that, haven't I? But we'll get inside the aeroplane and we'll see how we get on. It's usually just a case of following the procedures. I haven't done any of the training for any of this. I've just been jumping straight in and doing each certification. So it's DA62 then. Don't particularly like the DA62, but we'll use it if we have to. So let's go and get rid of the covers, get rid of the chocks. How close do we have to be to those? And does this have a static port somewhere? Oh, it's on the other side, isn't it? I remember now. Yeah, it's down on the tail. Remove the pitot cover. Where's the pitot cover hiding? There it is. Okay, so Shift and C will put us inside the aeroplane, and Alt and 7 will turn off head tracking for the moment. So before we get going with the flight, let's go and have a look and see where we're actually going. Oh, we have a flight plan. So it's probably just going to be testing that we can follow a flight plan more than anything. So do we get the option to, yeah, we can save the PLN file, look. So if we go save this to the PC and call it I'll put it in downloads, and we'll call it the test.pln. Save. So then if we were to go and run LittleNavMap, we should be able to load it up and see it. So file, open flight plan, don't save what we're looking at, load test.pln. Oh, it's got an exception. That's interesting. So that was a PLN file saved from here, and LittleNavMap doesn't like it. That's very unusual. Let's try that again. File, open flight plan, no. I wonder if we have to tell it exact. No, it's just got. It should be trying to detect what it is. So that doesn't like it. Anyway, we're not going to be too worried. I really want to see where we're going from. So KSEA over to somewhere else. KSEA. set that as departure. LFIE and FNL are en route. So what we could do actually is go flight plan description. So KSEA, then LFIE, and FNL, and then KTIW. We should do the same thing. Create flight plan. And it's got it hideously wrong, look, because of that. So there's the actual flight. But what are they doing in terms of the plan then? So if we zoom out and go and have a look. So they've got... So their nomenclature they use is a bit odd. So they've got LFIE, and then that must be just final then. Oh, it's the final marker, isn't it? That it always puts in. Okay. So if we just close this, and it will put it back up in there. And we'll see how we get on. So this is going to test us, but this is the crazy thing, look. This is supposed to be a test. I'm just going to go and check my controllers. But yeah, it's just a bit mad that you can use Control and E. So throttle quadrant, I've got this set to, I'm just checking, basic 2 engine, that should be fine. So let's just check the throws on my throttles. Yeah, they go all the way through, which is good. So Control E. Control E doesn't appear to do the lights.
Today. As this is the last part of your ATPL training, successfully completing this flight will grant you your license. We'll be flying straight out from Seattle-Tacoma International Airport to Tacoma Narrows Airport. Remember to follow safety protocols, fly smoothly, respect the flight plan, and keep the ATC informed. If you do that, you'll be well on your way to become an airline pilot.
Okay, you can hear everything as well. So, I've noticed, yeah, it doesn't control the lights for you. Also, it doesn't, although for tests it does. It doesn't always calibrate the barometric pressure. So I've just gone and done that. They've left the pumps running. I guess through takeoff that might be normal procedure for this aeroplane. Seems a bit odd. Okay, so we'll press... Oh, we're going to check the fuel. How much fuel have we got? It's only a short flight, isn't it? So that's looking fine. It's weird that that's moving around. So let's go for
Seattle ground, Diamond Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta. Request taxi for takeoff, departing straight out.
Diamond Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta taxi to and hold short of runway 16L using taxiway Alpha Charlie.
So that's where we need to taxi.
To and hold short runway 16L using taxiway Alpha Charlie Diamond Victor.
So we've got
Sierra
taxi
Delta.
lights on. You have to taxi slowly, otherwise you get a warning. Although for a license test you can probably get away with a few minor dings like that. But if you are doing a paid mission and you overspeed, you lose your bonus, which can be significant. It can be a lot of money that you lose.
Seattle Tower, Diamond Golf. November Victor, Sierra Delta ready at runway 16L, departing straight out.
Tim, I don't agree with you on that one.
Sierra Delta altimeter 29.
I'll just listen to this for a moment.
Departing straight out approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 16L.
A lot of people think they're judging their speed by the indicated airspeed, and obviously that doesn't take the wind into account. But the your ground speed's measured by, as far as I have seen, by ground speed.
Sierra Delta, did you copy?
Cleared for takeoff, runway 16L, Diamond Victor, Sierra Delta.
So, there we go. Head tracking's up and running. I just want to check a few things before we get going. So let's get the heading bug going the same direction we are. We'll go and set an initial altitude. We don't know what the initial altitude is going to be, but we'll put it on here. Just so we're almost set up with the autopilot. We'll go and preset heading mode. We'll go and preset, although it will take the vertical speed at the point we switch it on probably, but we'll set a decent climb rate. So we've got everything except the autopilot being on, ready to go. So strobes come on. Why are the strobes not coming on? I had to hold the button down then. Okay. Shouldn't need flaps for takeoff with this aircraft. So climb out to 1,500 feet. That's our first target then. Already at 500 feet. Let's trim it.
Engaging autopilot.
Yeah, it's playing silly burgers with the...
Don't sink. Don't sink.
I'm going to turn the autopilot back off. If this one's broken then. I don't know if you saw what it just did. It had a fit basically. So this is common of all of the IFR flights, or they're kind of lesser IFR flights. You go through that climb out waypoint and then it gives you a long final entry, but it'll go VFR probably when we get there. It's really odd. So I'm just going to trim this out and get it to actually do what we want. It's behaving very oddly. So, center the heading bug up. We're in heading mode. So, autopilot on. We've set, we want to go to 2,000 feet now. So let's go 2,000 feet, vertical speed mode, and nose up at 700 feet a minute. And there we go. So then we just sit and wait until we get to long final entry. This is the shortest test ever, isn't it? But then we just follow instructions, I guess, when we get there.
Diamond Victor Sierra Delta leaving my airspace frequency change approved.
Seattle Tower, Diamond Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta frequency change.
So yeah, I did a couple of IFR flights earlier, and it doesn't give you any guidance in here. Switch on autopilot nav. Oh, it wants it in nav mode, okay. So if we go... I'll just put it onto an intercept course before I press nav. I'm amazed it's tracking across to it, to be honest. I wasn't expecting that. Pull the power back a bit. So you'll notice it has the boxes in the G1000s. It's part of the synthetic display, I think. So we've got the wind on already. It hasn't told us anything about transponders, has it? From ATC, which is a bit odd. I'm just looking at Livestream. That's funny. So Bill's been shouting taxi light at me. Yeah, I realised after a few seconds. It doesn't test it. I've never seen it test the lights, other than the night flight test looked for them. And again, it did them strangely. It wanted me running strobes and landing lights before I got on the runway, which is obviously rubbish. So 5 miles to run. Yeah, these tests are very strange. I get that what they're doing, they're trying to introduce more and more facets to operating the aircraft correctly, but it doesn't, because half the procedure's missing. And I get the whole accessibility story as well. So our first interaction on departure would have been, well, in the UK at least, it would, maybe not in America, would have been changing our transponder, but oh well. Shall have a look out the window while we're passing some time. So it has got the approach in, pre-programmed in. I'm not sure. If we can have a look. Yeah, they're coming in for the ILS, so should we go and program it in? I wonder if it'll do it for us. 109.1. That's if it even works. Okay, can we actually use the nav radio? Yeah, 109. So once we turn in onto finals, we'll switch frequencies. I would be expecting us to descend though, because we'd only need to be at about 1,000 feet or less than that, 700-800 feet by this point on the ILS. If we're going straight in, we're way too high, unless they're going to make us fly in a silly pattern around the airport. Let's start slowing down on purpose. No, it's just expecting us to do. So this will go through long final entry now. So we just have to go land. So, 7, we'll turn our head tracking back on. There's the runway below us. What are they expecting us to do? So what I'm going to do is turn the autopilot off, and I'm going to fly the circuit in myself and go back round. Now, did it say on the plan which runway it expected us to land on? Yeah, 17. Let's just double check that. Has it got it written in here? Yes, runway 17. So I'm going to fly the reciprocal and lose some height and some speed and bring us in. Why the approach. Well, they didn't give us an approach, did they? They landed us far too high, far too close. Whether this is testing your ability to think critically about what you're doing, I don't know. So we fly away from the airport again. Let's go and switch the CDI over. I wonder if it'll complain to localizer mode, because then we'll see the glide slope as we descend. So let's put the landing lights on. So we're flying the opposite direction than the runway. Here comes the glide slope. So if we just level out at 1,000 feet then and turn and get the gear down. That's quite funny. But luckily we have the localizer. It won't tell me off at all for this wacky approach. So I've got the gear down, so I don't have to announce. Oh, I have to announce a full stop landing on the way in.
Tower Diamond Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta is 3 miles north 700 feet with Alpha to land.
Diamond Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta Tower, altimeter 29er, 902 make straight in runway 17.
Fly straight in runway 17 Diamond Victor Sierra Delta.
Diamond Victor Sierra Delta, follow the aircraft on final. Wind 255 at 4. Clear to land runway 17.
Clear to land runway 17 Diamond Victor Sierra Delta.
It's bizarre, isn't it? So its original point it put us at was far too high. We would have had to maneuver. But whether it's just testing that you have the wherewithal to do that, to put yourself in the correct place in the sky. And then, yeah, the rectangles have suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Bizarre, isn't it? I was quite surprised then when we banked on the turn. This little DA62 lost a ton of height, which is why I ended up having to climb. Whether that's just a facet, I don't often use this aeroplane in the sim. Whether it's just a facet of this aeroplane that in the bank it does lose a ton of height, I don't know.
Diamond Victor Sierra Delta X. Diamond Victor Sierra Delta contact ground on 121. 8.
Going to 121. 8 Diamond Victor Sierra Delta. Ground Diamond Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta taxi to parking.
Diamond Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta taxi to general aviation parking via taxiway Alpha Bravo.
Taxiing to general aviation parking via taxiway Alpha Bravo Diamond Victor Sierra Delta.
So yeah, although I'm making sure I'm doing the lights properly, I don't think it tests you for it. Earlier on, I just left all the landing lights, strobes on, everything throughout the taxi, and it didn't say a word about it. But if you set foot off of the taxiway or you go a knot too fast in the taxi, you get absolutely castigated for it. I did a mission earlier with the Beaver while I was grinding, trying to make enough money to get out of the starting point of the career mode, and landed on a runway that was about 1 foot wider than... There was a lump there on the ground, wasn't there? Yeah, I landed on a runway that was about 1 foot wider than the undercarriage track of the Beaver. How I didn't get a penalty, I'll never know. And there was a crosswind as well. It was somewhere in the middle of Germany. This winds me up, that you end up in parking spaces that are like 1 kilometre away, or even further. I had a taxi earlier while I was grinding the missions out to make enough money to get towards, you know, having a company, and it was just tremendously frustrating. I'd get put on, you know, the far end of an airport and have to taxi well over a nautical mile to get to the runway. And of course you're not allowed to break the taxi speed limit, otherwise you lose all your bonuses. So you end up trundling along at this speed for the best part of 10-15 minutes, burning fuel as you go. Obviously I leaned the engine out, but frustrating, I think the word is. It would be really good if there was a training mode where none of this was available and you had to use the resources at your disposal to find out the taxiways. You know, so go look at the chart. I guess they could only do it for the heavies though, because they've got the Lufthansa charts, haven't they, in the Planet app. So in the tablet, I should say. So in here, if you go and have a look, yeah, you've got charts here. And they are the Lufthansa charts. So the only reason I'm sticking to the trail is so we don't get told off, basically. You could press Alt-N for the license test and it'll probably be fine, because there's no money involved in a license test. So thinking about it, I could have just pressed Alt-N. Didn't have to do any of this. We are going to clip the aeroplane, because if we deviate from the taxi route we'll probably lose points. Thankfully you can't hit other aeroplanes. You can hit buildings. Control Shift E. And then it will all end automatically.
You flew well today and obtained your license. There's still a bit of room to improve if you want to perfect your flying.
Yep, I know. I got a B. So respect the cruise altitude. That's because I deviated at the end, probably. Respect the flight plan again. But I still passed. And with a decent pass. Like, that amazes me. How I didn't just scrape that, I don't know. But we passed it. So we now have airline transport pilot for propeller aircraft. We can go for turboprop, or for combustion engine, I guess. We can go for the turboprop one as well, but in terms of once you start a company, I'll show you guys this in case anybody hasn't done this yet. So if we go back into Korea. So once I had enough money in the bank, and it was about 30,000 credits, I was able to start a company. So this area of the sim opened up. So I think it cost 10,000 credits to create the company, and then I had to buy an aeroplane. So it's whoever designed this user interface needs talking to. You have to go to all companies, and then you can manage your company that you create, because you can create multiple companies. And then within your company, you can see your airplanes, so your fleet. Okay, so I've got one Cessna 172 that I bought second-hand. And again, it cost maybe 25,000 for the Cessna, so I just squeaked it with the money I had. But it was out of service. I couldn't actually use it to go and fly any missions until I'd fixed it. It cost me another, it was the best part of 20,000 to fix it. And you can see, if you go and look in an aircraft, you can go manage aircraft. And you can see the condition of it, so you can do an update checkup. It's going to cost me 3,000 credits. So we'll do that, checkup. And that will tell you what needs to be fixed. So now you need to spend, so that's your service. Or that's having a look at it. We've got wash it, is 600, everything is money. Maintenance. So if I pay, we can actually go and look. There's something's wrong with the landing gear. You can go and look at the details. So we can see it's just wear and tear. The tyres are worn, the landing gear itself is a bit worn. So what these things really mean is anybody's guess. But we'll go to this maintenance and we'll pay it. And it should, has it not fixed the landing gear? Maintain. Oh, it's 20,000 to fix the landing gear. It's just money, money, money all the way, isn't it? So I've got brand new landing gear on it. I guess you could do the same here. You could 65,000 credits to go and upgrade the flight controls if we wanted to. If we go and look at them then. So you just get wear and tear over time, look. So you get to replace them, and it costs a fortune to do so. So we can wash the aeroplane because it's dirty. That's a bit like Gran Turismo, isn't it? You have an insurance policy. You can have, I've just got the basic one, so I'm taking risks. If I put the aeroplane in the ground, I've basically lost all of the money that I've invested in the aeroplane. If you have premium, look at this, 10,000 credits per flight hour. But if you crash the plane, you'll get 80% of the value of the aircraft back. So you'll get a lot of money back. But I've just got the basic one, which is 460 credits per flight hour, and it literally gives me just 10% of the airplane's value back. So you have to insure your airplanes. Okay, but the huge upside of once you have got a company and you own an aeroplane, as I said, is when you go into missions, there's an extra option appears. Oh, we can do cargo transport medium now apparently, but that's because we've got the ATP on combustion engines. So there's a special flight has appeared. There's no live missions at the moment apparently, which is a bit of a so-and-so. But yeah, so where normally when you start the sim you only see employee missions, you can now see freelance missions. So on an employee mission you saw those huge numbers being changed hands for the flight, and you only earn a few thousand. Now you see the freelancer ones and you earn all of it, but you've got all the costs to cover. Yeah, so you've got the service cost on the aeroplane to cover, the fuel and all the rest of it. But look at the amounts. Okay, live weather's not working at the moment. So we could do this standard freight from across France, and you will typically more than double that if you do every step and do it correctly. So we'll be looking at probably 50,000-60,000 credits if we do it well. So it doesn't take long to build up. I did one flight earlier for over 100,000 credits. Or I did two back to back actually, and they were over 100,000 credits each. It's worth keeping an eye on this list as well and zooming out and looking somewhere else, because look, it's changed. Or just zoom out to see what appears on the map. So there's one there for 36,000 credits, look. So it's worth looking around to see what comes up on the map. So if we did that one, I wonder how much we can buy a second-hand decent transport plane for. No, this is just based on flying a Cessna. I could do a mission that earns me sort of 30,000 credits. How much is it to go and buy a second-hand? Oh, we need to. Yeah, let's go and do this specification first. I need to get the turboprop to be able to run the caravan, for example. I'd need a turboprop. 50,000 credits it costs to do the exam, which I've got. So it's a really short flight again, look. So, oh, we're using the Twin Otter. Cool. Good job I looked at it the other day then. So to get the company, just looking at the live stream comments while this is loading, to get the company, when I got to about 30,000 credits, 30,000 credits, it offered me the opportunity to start a company. I didn't do it straight away because I knew I needed more. I needed 10,000 to start the company, and then I needed about 25 to go and get a second-hand Cessna, but that Cessna was broken. So then I had to go and fly another mission to earn the money to fix the Cessna. So let's go start. Oh, we're starting in the air then.
We have time to perform one last maneuver before rejoining the last legs of the approach towards Frankfurt Airport's runway 07R. I want you to show me that you can safely recover from a power-off stall. You will be free to start the recovery as soon as you hear the stall warning. Be careful not to overdo it.
I'll put it into reverse.
Sync rate.
So what have they actually set this up? Okay, they're going flat out on the propellers, oh my word. So I'm going to cheat slightly. If I'd known what we were getting into, I would have done this before. So we're going to go to controls, and I'm going to choose a control configuration to let me have the propellers. Yeah, throttle and propeller. Save and back. So that's got it. I'm also going to release the latches on the thrustmaster. Is it going to let me do it? I can't get my fingers onto it. I'm going to have to let go of the stick to do this. I need to be at 4,500 feet though. I'm going to have to do this later. Got 2 miles to make 1,000 feet. So I've split my sticks to use the propeller and the power. I'm massively overdriving the engines at the moment, but it doesn't seem to be penalising me for it. So we're back at 4,500 feet. There's the airport. What's the route like? Can we see it? Has it got it programmed in? No! Ah, it's just not centered on us, that's all. There we go. So we're going to do a right turn.
Frankfurt Tower Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta is 10 miles southwest 4,700 feet with Yankee to land.
Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta.
There's Frankfurt Airport.
QNH 1013 fly straight in runway 07R.
Make straight in runway 07 or Victor Sierra Delta.
So 07 right. Now, Frankfurt's confusing. I would rather see, I think that's centre and right is alongside it. Or it may be further over. I want to see a map. No, 07 right, yeah, is the one on the right hand side that we're just coming in towards. We're very high. Trying to scrub some speed off. Has this got the ILS already tuned in? I don't think it has it? Nice if it did.
Victor Sierra Delta wind 267 at 12. Cleared to land runway 07R.
Cleared to land runway 07 or Victor Sierra Delta.
I don't really want to go messing around with the radios while we're on finals. We'll just do it visually and use the PAPI lights. Quite what a Twin Otter is doing landing at an international airport is anyone's guess. Can't quite see the... I think we're on 2 reds and 2 whites down there. Can't quite resolve it yet. Twin Otter looks great, doesn't it? Oh, we're drifting off to the left. I would go and check the lights, but they're behind us up there. So propellers are on full speed.
500.
Just extending the flaps down a bit more. fishing around with the throttle to find out. There's a bit of a power band going on with it that's kind of difficult to anticipate.
Minimums. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Victor Sierra Delta, turn next taxiway.
Yeah, this did the same trick that it did earlier. This had reversed parking brake. So even though my controller had the parking brake off, it was on in the aeroplane. And I keep trying to remind myself to cycle the parking brake to force it to reflect the controls. That's the second time I've seen that. The first time I saw it was my first crash in career mode,
Victor Sierra Delta, turn next taxiway.
where I tipped a beaver up on its nose because as I landed, I hadn't realised.
Sierra Delta, contact ground on 121. 965.
Yeah, I hadn't realised that the parking
121.
brake was on. Of course, tail
965
draggers,
for
that's a bit of a
Victor Sierra
disaster.
Delta. Frankfurt Ground Golf. November Victor, Sierra Delta taxi to parking.
Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta taxi to gate Sierra 404 via taxiway Romeo 15 cross runway 07, or Mike 25 Mike 19er cross runway 07.
They're going to send us all over the airport.
2 tree.
This is going to take 10 minutes to get to the parking place.
Taxiing to gate Sierra 404 via taxiway Romeo 15 cross runway 07. Or Mike 25 Mike
Yeah, look.
19er cross runway 07.
I'm going to press Alt and N. This is only a test. It's not to earn money.
You passed the test with flying colors. With that much potential, it's no wonder that you flew so well with the Twin Otter.
I wouldn't say I flew with flying colours. Yeah, look. I got 0% on the stall manoeuvre. Why? Although I hadn't configured the controls at that point. So they probably didn't like how I came out of it. But I still passed. And I got above an A. With 0 on the stall. That makes no sense. Aviator performance. Everything went perfectly, except I didn't do this. Maybe the stall was optional. You don't lose anything on a certification flight when skipping to parking. You do on a mission where you're earning money. You lose a lot of bonus money. So that's past that one. New aircraft available. Saab 340. I had a look at that the other day, didn't I? The ES30. I think I looked at that before. A few months back when it first came out as a third-party product. Should we go straight for the jet pilot? As long as it's not the 737-800, it's going to be, isn't it? Or sorry, the Max. Sorry. What's the betting? That's the 737 Max. If it's the Airbus, we could do it all day long. It's going to be the Boeing, isn't it? And it's rubbish. It's absolute garbage. I'm tempted. Oh, I haven't got enough money. I was going to say I'm tempted to just go and do it for a bit of a laugh, because I can fly the big jets backwards. After years of group flights with ATC. But again, I don't know the 737 Max, and I know it's broken. So, having got that under my belt, can we go and make some serious money now? Oh, actually, no, we need to go and look at buying an airplane, don't we? Companies. All companies. Beckett Transport. And buy an aircraft. Buy a brand... How much is a brand new one? What can we get for 77,000? Probably nothing. Yeah, look, they're $500,000. Even for something little. So a Grand Caravan is 3.7 million credits. And we've got 77,000. Okay, so what can we get second-hand? Oh, I've pressed the wrong button. Oh, no, I haven't. Used aircraft. And they're still in the millions. Okay, so we're not going to be doing anything soon. So we're going to be grinding for weeks with a Cessna to make sensible money. Let's have a look at the missions, see what's available then. Now we've got a few more opportunities available. Oh, hello. The world hasn't loaded, which is interesting. This happened to me the other day. I think there's a few problems going on with the simulator. Yeah, the entire world has vanished. Look, we've just got ocean. So if we come out to the main menu and come back into career mode, I wonder if it'll fix itself. Because there's the world. There's so many little bugs in this, it's funny. So if I go to missions again, is it going to work? Yay! It's going to work this time. It's not going to center though. So if we went and have a look on the list and see what shows up and for how much money. As I said, there were several on here this morning. It varies throughout the day. There were several on here this morning that were for serious money, like over 100,000. But they're not there now because I've done them probably. There's one there for 36,000. Let's do that. So it will say no aircraft available, and there's a 3,000 credit cost to transfer my aeroplane. So let's accept it. And yeah, we need to transfer the closest aircraft. So it's going to cost 3,000 credits to get the aeroplane to where we're taking off from. So depending on where you pick your mission, that may factor into it. And I guess that gets more expensive with the big jets. Okay, so it's just a mission criteria 500, so that it will give me this many experience points. Contract is for 36,000, but remember that number because it'll be good to understand what happens if we try and do this really accurately and see what we actually earn. So 36,000 is the contract price. So a lot of this makes no sense to me at the moment. So let's just go fly then. We might need to put some fuel in the aeroplane, which I probably should have done already. There's a trick to that, by the way. Oh no, the van did some breakdancing there. Notice they put your company name on the aeroplane, which is quite cool. Okay, here we go again. So we'll do everything by the book and see how much money. So remember, 36,000 was the book price for the contract. So we've got rid of the things we needed to get rid of. Let's pop the yoke off. So master battery on. Let's see how much fuel we've got. Not much. So we can press... I've mapped it to Control-Alt-F. I'll show you what that does for anybody who didn't see me do this earlier today. If we go into Controls and Keyboard and search by Control-Alt-F, add fuel quantity. It adds 25%, but I think we'll get billed for it. It'll be interesting to look at that afterwards and see what happens. So if we say resume, so watch the fuel, Control-Alt-F. Control-Alt-F. So we've added 50% fuel to the aircraft. Yeah, which will be fine for for our journey today. Although we can check. So if we go and look at this, is it going to give us the point-to-point distance of the route? I don't think it does it? We'll see it on the GPS in a minute. So it's a VFR flight from LFYK to LFAB. So let's just turn off head tracking for a moment and press shift space. Okay. So we've turned the power on so far. Let's go and turn the beacon light on. We've gone to both fuel tanks. Interesting. That animated, didn't it, as I went past it. We need to go and go rich on the mixture, crack the throttle open, and then we can turn the engine over.
Captain, are you ready? Great. It's Ludwig, your dispatcher, you know.
Avionics
Just a quick
on.
reminder about today's job.
Nav light on.
You have cargo in bulk behind you. Time-critical shipment for our client site. Expected in no time at St. Aubin-sur-Science. Our sensitive cargo containers are built to handle turbulence, but maintain
calibrate the
constant
altimeter.
flight speed. Let's keep our delivery on time and safe. You have all the pertinent information in your flight packet as a reminder. Here's to a successful flight.
Thank you very much. And then this pops open and we can announce taxi.
Lima Foxtrot Yankee Kilo Traffic Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta is taxiing to runway 30.
Taxi light on. And we'll have a look outside and take the parking brake off. We just need to go nice and slow. So these disappearing have nothing to do with us running over them. It's a line across the aircraft's front that when they are behind that line, so if we were to spin through 360 degrees, you'd see all of these vanish. If that makes any sense. So it's just disappearing them as they cross the line of the front of the aircraft. Yeah, we've got a nautical mile to taxi. It's nuts, isn't it? But if we don't do it, we'll lose a huge bonus. And if we overspeed in the taxi, we'll lose that bonus as well. So it's worth having... There's no wind data at the moment, look, which is really useful. In the real world, you wouldn't put the pitot heat on until you get nearer the runway, and you've got outside air temperature is 3 degrees, so it's within the realms that you would. But without enough airflow over the pitot tube, you can actually damage it. I'm just fiddling with the controls, which is why I'm weaving all over the taxiway. I just realised I still had the Thrustmaster Airbus quadrant set with the detent for the reverse on the power from the previous aircraft we were using. So in this Cessna, I've got it set so the left throttle is the throttle, the right throttle is the mixture control. Let's go and center our view up so we can look around nicely. So when we get on the runway, we'll set the autopilot up. We're not going to hand fly this for very far at all, because there's no point. So the other thing that became very obvious once people pointed it out is the boxes in the sky have no meaning whatsoever. The waypoints are the only things you need to pay any attention of, the sticks with the circles on. So you can do your own thing in terms of navigating. And we've been done. We've just lost a massive amount of bonus because we went like 1 knot over the pedestrian limit while spending 10 minutes taxiing to the far end of beyond. That's probably cost us somewhere in the region of about £5,000. Or 5,000 credits, I should say. They're not connected to real world money, are they?
Lima Foxtrot Yankee Kilo Traffic Cessna Golf.
Look.
November Victor Sierra Delta, taking off runway 30 west departure.
It's telling us to use a runway that's out of use. Oh, I shouldn't laugh, really. You can tell it's heavy. The airplane's heavy. Okay, so it's up to us what we do now, but we're going to do things properly, even though it's not going to check it. Just good habits and all the rest of it. So we're going to bring ourselves to a halt for a moment. Landing lights on, strobe lights on. Go and double check the barometric pressure. We're going to set the heading bug to be the same direction we're going, and then we're going to go and set at least, well, we're at 900 feet already, so we'll set at least 2,000 feet on the altimeter. Okay. We can preset heading mode as well on the autopilot. So 55 knots. Rotate. Look at it swaying around in the turbulence. So we've got a bit of a crosswind going on. So we want to climb to 1,600 feet, ideally before the end of the initial climb. So you're looking for about 70-75 knots in the climb. Coming up towards 1600 feet, and then it will give us further climb, and we'll be on our own basically to get to the destination. There we go, look. So it just says fly to, so climb to 2600. Okay, so we'll go and set the altitude to 2600. Turn the autopilot on now. Go vertical speed, nose up, take us up at 700 feet a minute to get to 2600 feet. We can go and turn the landing lights off now. Taxi lights off. And we can start navigating as we wish. So we can go turn ourselves across the track here. So there's the GPS track. If you can see that on the screen there. So there's the GPS track, and we're going to encroach on it in a moment. We're climbing up to 2600 feet. It's captured the altitude. So we can come off the throttle a bit. We can probably lean it out. So how far is it away? 160, 170 nautical miles away. Just leaning the engine out, looking at the RPM as I was leaning it out, so I was pulling out the... So there's nothing to stop us climbing higher. We don't have to fly at the altitude that they specify, but we will. We'll do sort of what they want. So yeah, notice these boxes, they're just made up. The thing you're really interested in is the GPS track. And as soon as we get close to it, what we can do is just say nav mode. And it's gone straight for it. Look, we're close enough, so it's going to align itself. As soon as it's done that and stabilized, I'll accelerate time, so we're not sat here for the next hour and a half waiting. So we've got ETE of an hour and 55 minutes or so, but that's obviously going to come down because I'm going to accelerate time. It really is like looking at a 1980s video game now, isn't it? We don't need to have the VST on, do we? So we go PFD options. Oh, the buttons are below, aren't they? Always forget that. So SVT. Turn the terrain off. And back. And back. That turns off the boxes as well though, but it doesn't really matter. You can still see that out there. So now we're stabilised in altitude. I'm just going to go and double check something I saw earlier. I'm just going to go and have a look at the map to see if there are any restricted areas. So look at the sectors. I flew through one earlier and took a huge chunk out of my money for it. I don't think there's any restricted sectors along the way. Let's have a look and see if LittleNavMap's got any. So we're going from here. Ignore the route for the moment. And we're going over here somewhere. Was it there? LFAE. Let's just press flight plan. Yeah, LFAB, sorry. St. Aubin, okay. So that's where we're going. I want to check two things. One is altitude. So we are at 2,300 feet, wasn't it? Something like that. no, 2,600 feet. Are there any features along the way that are within 1,000 feet of us? No, there aren't. So we're not going to have to deal with anything other than this horrible cloud. But the other thing I wanted to look at is the sectors. Do we have anything that we need to worry about along the way? What is this area? Restricted. So do we need to go around it? Or more accurately, I suppose, is it on the tablet? This isn't very useful, is it? It's not showing us the sectors. This did when we zoomed in, didn't it? Okay, Alt R plus plus plus, so we've accelerated to about 16 times, is it? No, 2, 4, 8 times. So let's have a play with the mixture along the way. I'm just looking at the RPM versus the gallons per hour versus the airspeed. Because fuel is money. Mind you, we've already been clobbered for overspeeding on the taxiway. Right, I'm going to turn head tracking off so I can look at the live stream comments. So yeah, I'm not skipping anything anymore because you lose nearly all of your money through doing it. It pays you to laboriously go through all of the phases of flight. It may even be that the taxiway penalty isn't a monetary one. It might be an experience one or a reputation one. So we're just whizzing across the countryside towards St Aubin. We're 140 miles out now. We do need to keep half an eye on fuel. But what we'll do while on the way is keep an eye on that map as well. If we see any red areas pop up on here, we need to be mindful. Usually they're circles, and it's usually like military airfields. If you go into a red area, you're in trouble. I think we're going to be okay. But we're just approaching. This says restricted here. Cessna restricted. Minimum altitude 2,200 feet, max altitude 8,500. But can't see anything else. There's one. See, these are the dangerous ones. So if I put the mouse just inside there, Penley is prohibited. Okay, it's prohibited. We need to be careful of. I think we're going to be fine. There's one there, look. So obviously there's some sort of facility there that you're not allowed to fly over it, which would appear on the map probably if we get close enough to it. It's going to be about our 11 o'clock. Is that it there? No, that's just a normal airport. But you get red circles sometimes. Your computer will tell you that LittleNavMap is dangerous because it is the author of LittleNavMap has not paid to license it with what's the correct words? You have to put basically a key into the installer that Windows will like a trust authentication key that will then, the Windows installers will allow it to go past without questioning it, and it's something you have to purchase to do that, and it's expensive, and LittleNavMap's free. There is nothing wrong with LittleNavMap as long as you download it from the official website. Your digital signature, that's the term I was trying to think of. My brain's not working today. I should know this stuff, I'm a software developer. But yeah, so you purchase a signature from Microsoft or token, you build it into your binaries, and when they get unpackaged, it trusts them. You used to have exactly the same thing with Transmitter when I originally made it. That I used a little freebie called Setup to build the installer, which is kind of famous for years, but it doesn't handle the trusted Windows installers. So we're just sitting on autopilot, following the GPS track. Are we going to have enough fuel? See, we can add fuel in flight with Control-Alt-F that I mapped to the additional fuel hotkey. So fuel isn't a problem. We could fly around the world, but I think we do get billed for it. It'd be interesting. We added 50% fuel to the aircraft before we departed. Oh dear, I've just read the comment in the live stream, and here I was thinking that software engineers were never wrong. They're not. Good software engineers know when to admit they don't know. In fact, that's probably a cornerstone of all good technical people, is they will freely admit that they do not know, but they can find out. Most people are really, really good at looking stuff up. So the people who are often, vaunted for being brilliant, they're usually just really good at looking stuff up. It's like the whole thing about people sometimes asking me, how do you remember how to fly all these airplanes? I don't. After a while, one airplane is very much like another. Obviously, on the second or third flight of a given airplane, I will become more and more correct in terms of procedures and processes and knowing where things are. But that's why I write the procedure documents up, because nobody can retain all of that information across all of those airplanes. It's impossible. That's an interesting, the Plato comment that's just been written up there about not knowing what you don't know. That's something actually that some of the most what's the word? Some of the most assertive people I've known will always admit that you don't know what you don't know, and that's a dangerous place to be. Whoa, look at this. I'm almost, while we're in this horrible cloud, I'm almost thinking about, yeah, let's go and put this back on. So SVT, just because we can see the ground. So when we do end up with zero visibility, this is crazy, isn't it? This is a VFR flight, and here we are flying at the commanded altitude, and we've got almost no visibility. I had a really good one this morning. It gave me an IFR flight, and we got within 7 miles, I think it was, of the destination, and ATC came on and said, we're cancelling service, you can go VFR now. Couldn't see a thing. Thankfully, I was in the 172, and it's got all the toys on board. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was the Beaver, but it was a version of the Beaver that had the Garmin GNS 530 on board. So I went and quickly did a direct to, and put the destination details in, and navigated in IFR, even though they'd said they're cancelling service and go VFR now. Nuts. There was zero visibility. I think at about 200 feet above ground level I could just about make out the rooftops. So we're almost there, so I need to go and get ready on Alt R. And -3 times. So when we get to within about 5 miles, I think it's 4, it varies between 4 and 5 miles of the destination, the simulator will suddenly kick in and ask us to talk to the destination air traffic control. But I'm going to remove it, or bring it back to normal time. So it looks like we're going to have an IFR approach. But I don't think the destination's got... No, it hasn't got ILS. So it's going to be fun. Oh, the weather's clearing. That's okay then. Is career mode any good? It's something to do, isn't it? It won't teach you anything about proper aviation, but it kind of hints towards things that you have to do in the real world, maybe. It helps if you know the aeroplane well. So if you know, for example, the Cessna, and if you know the G1000 really well, it makes it a doddle, to be honest. It's a bit of a bind to have to do the missions, but they give you a lot of freedom in the air. It's not like, even the IFR flight wasn't anything like you might have imagined it should have been. To be honest, the blue boxes, if you've got an aeroplane with G1000s, they are completely useless, because you've got your position, you've got the synthetic visual display. We're going to just about do it on fuel, aren't we? It does estimate the fuel before you get in the aeroplane when you're in the hangar, and you can go and obviously buy fuel. So that will be interesting to see. So we started off with a contract of 36,000 credits. We took a penalty. We'll see how that impacts it for... I'm just bringing this back to normal speed. We took a penalty for taxiing about 1 knot above the taxi speed. And yeah, we added 50% of the fuel, so it'd be interesting to see how those different facets interact with what we eventually end up knowing. This is going to be a zero visibility approach, isn't it? regardless of what the game says to us. Although it's not that bad. If we lose a little bit of height, we'll be fine. But they'll tell us in a moment what runway we're going for, but we can tell it'll be runway, what's the number, 31, underneath all of that rubbish in LittleNav. That's the one thing that's terrible about LittleNavMap. It renders things over the top of each other. So runway elevation is 344 feet, so we're going to come down to 2,000. Or 1,800 even. So vertical speed, come down at 500 feet a minute, let's bring the speed off. Oh, let's go for 1,000 feet a minute. We want to get below this cloud base if we can, don't we? Let's put the landing lights back on and the taxi lights back on, at least so somebody can see us. There we go. Contact the arrival airport.
Lima Foxtrot Alpha Bravo traffic Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta 5 miles east 2200, Fort inbound to land runway tree 1.
We're going to go back to heading mode and we're going to go off to the left. We're going to completely ignore the pattern and go through the final marker at the appropriate angle to hit the runway. Yeah, so what we're looking to do is just coming across here and then turn in. Just straightening the view up. So, autopilot off. There's the runway. So, landing lights are on. We just flown this whole flight without the pitot heat, and it won't warn us. It won't tell us off for either. The first thing we would have known, if it had been a bit colder, we would have lost our indicated airspeed and altitude. There we go. So all we're looking to do is come through the final waypoint in line with the runway. I think it might have lights, which will be useful. The boxes always tend to be rendered too high on the example flight path. So if you have PAPI lights or FASI lights, you'll find out that you're way too high if you fly through the boxes. So we got a 14 knot crosswind at the moment, but it probably won't be that strong at the ground.
Lima Foxtrot Alpha Bravo traffic Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta is on final runway tree 1 to land.
So we're just bleeding the speed off and then we'll get the flaps down. If you can't bleed the speed off, you can always side slip. bumpy old runway. Whoa. I'm letting go of the controls. That I've seen that a few times where you hit a bump in the new simulator and it can set up an oscillation, which could happen in the real world. So we need to stop at the hold short, so we need to double back. Yeah, there's the hold short over there, look. That was all caused, we hit a bump and we had a side wind, or crosswind, sorry, and it started an oscillation going. One of the new things in 2024 is the individual tyre pressures are modelled. So if you start rocking back and forth and then you start reacting to it, you can get a pilot-induced oscillation going on, and that's exactly what you saw me do, which is why I suddenly shouted I was letting go. I stopped reacting and the aeroplane stabilised and fell to the floor. Because I was essentially bouncing it from one tyre to the other, and it was getting worse. The more I fought it, the worse it got. So as we come off the runway, the landing light comes off, the strobe light comes off. We need to put the airplane in this box for whatever reason of their own invention. And the box has vanished. Okay, the hold short moved. That's a good bug. So we'll go and park in this hold short. Announce.
Lima Foxtrot Alpha Bravo Traffic Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta is taxiing to parking.
You can understand why the mistakes happen, because this is procedurally generating these routes. They are not handcrafted. So an AI algorithm is trying to figure out where to put the boxes, where to put the taxiways, where to put, you know, everything. And it sometimes gets it wrong. It's just its reasoning needs a bit of refinement. It's very impressive that it manages to get even anywhere close to being correct. So parking brake on and then control shift E. We could do it by hand, but you don't get penalised for it. So that should finish the flight. So we got fairly good scores, but we get, look, no bonus because of the taxi, but that's on aviator performance. But maybe it doesn't affect our money then. So we still got, what does S mean? Is it super or special? I'm special. Do you get a badge? What does the performance mean? So, okay, that's just a quick rundown. So we did okay. So here's the important one. So reputation bonus, no skip bonus. Look, 60,000 credits for the no skip bonus. Bad weather. So if you choose to intentionally fly in bad weather, so that was the base income. Look at these bonuses. But that doesn't add up. We had 70,000 on the way in, didn't we? I think. And that doesn't add up to final income with bonuses. Okay, I need a new calculator. Because that doesn't add up. You're looking at 190,000 credits there, and we've got 165. Why is it all gone? We're going to have a look at the balance sheet for the company in a moment, because that's what the one thing the company does give you. Look, is your account history. So this is me doing missions earlier. Look, so we were doing them for buying a Cessna. Your account, passive incomes, no. What the hell's passive income? That was the maintenance we did. Okay, so it's scrolling downwards. By the look, oh, you can sort it. Mission reward, cargo transport light. So that's what we just earned. Oh yes, look, we're up to 250,000. So it hadn't actually applied it. So we did earn a colossal amount of money. So it was listed as 36,000 credits. We actually earned 165,000 credits because we did the complete end-to-end trip. If I swear to God, if I see EBITDA in here anywhere, I will scream and shut the computer down and walk away. Anybody who works for a big commercial organisation will have heard that term. So that's interesting, isn't it? So yeah, that was a 36,000 credit flight, and we earned 165,000, nearly 166,000 credits. That's interesting. So you can make those colossal numbers for the big airliners. You're looking at 4 or 5 small cargo flights to go and buy I don't know, a turboprop. So it's going to be a day's work, isn't it? If you just sit there and lump through it. Obviously this graph look is jumping up, so we're 240,000. So that's our profit. What's the green is rewards. That's interesting. So, what can we do? Obviously the missions change from day to day. So we're still doing freelance missions, which means that we take the risk. So I'll be using my trusty little Cessna again, because that's all we've got with this amount of money. So 30,000 credits. We know we're going to probably quadruple these numbers or more. But it's worth... I wonder if we zoom out, do we get to see every... Something that's not clear to me. There's... Elsewhere in the world, there's these special missions for, like, I can't even see any at the moment. Oh, maybe you can only see them as an employee. Yeah. So scientific research. Oh, look at the pay. It's only 1,600 credits. Why would you bother? I'm sorry, I'm a bit too mercenary. I'm going to go and do flights that are going to earn me... Look, so this is the difference. Look, as an employee... These flights are earning you 2,000 credits. As a freelancer, they're earning you 20 or 30,000 credits. Because it's your aeroplane. You're not just getting a pilot hourly rate. 34,000, that's a good one, isn't it? May as well go do it. Difficulty. The difficulty factors a lot into the money as well. So it's going to cost us 1,300 credits, look, to transfer the airplane, because it's obviously not at the departure airport. So we'll accept, and we'll transfer our airplane over. Okay, so if we say we'll just go do this. I need to put some fuel in the airplane. We didn't get charged for the fuel, did we? I don't think. Or it was such a small amount, it's not even worth worrying about. So Control-Alt-F is fine to fill the airplane up. So, Little Trader is saying, is your plane in good condition? Yeah, I spent a fortune fixing it. Okay, so here we go again. Get rid of the yoke. But what am I doing? Power. Mixture to rich. Fuel tanks to both. Cycle the... I've learnt the hard way. Cycle the parking brake. Beacon light on, and nav lights on at the same time. Turn the engine over. If I open the throttle now, just open the throttle a little bit.
Hi there, it's Marcos.
So we're
now you're all set
targeting
up. Let me go over the important details with you. You have
1,000
commodities
RPM to
behind
warm
you.
the engine up.
Important shipment for our client site. Expected in no time at Jasrin. The sensitive cargo containers have a good tolerance with turbulences to preserve the cargo, but it's crucial you keep a smooth yet quick flight. If you also ensure timely arrival, you maintain our high standards of service excellence and everyone's satisfied. All relevant information is in your flight packet, which is uploaded on your map as a reference. Here's to a successful flight.
Okay. So let's go and calibrate the altimeter. Engine's looking good. We need some fuel though. We can Control-Alt-F. F is enough. We can do more if we want to. Or we won't. Oh, let's just do it. It's not going to cost us a fortune. Okay, so we may as well announce taxi.
Lima Foxtrot Oscar Zulu Traffic Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta is taxiing to runway 23.
So there's no tower here. It's an uncontrolled airport. The only thing wrong with this Cessna is its turning circle is abysmal. So you end up... You can play silly games where if you hold the brakes on, you can force it. Just going to clip his head with the wing for standing there. Let's see if we can do this without getting a penalty this time on taxi. So fast walking pace is the speed to go for. So I guess the story is how much is this Cessna worth while it's in good condition? I wonder if they get grubby over time then. They must do, I suppose. Otherwise, yeah, look, you can see there's marks appearing. They weren't there before. So it is getting grubby. They've obviously stole that idea from the Cessna 310. That had like an overlay of dirt on it, didn't it? Dark Lodge is not wrong when he said look at all those bad weather credits. I mean clouds. It's true. The worse the weather is, the better. So live weather is a godsend because you can go and pick your flight based on where it's horrible and get massive bonuses by dealing with... Trouble is, if you're flying with cargo and your plane gets thrown around, you could lose a lot of money unless you're going to go storm dodging. And then you'd probably need Navigraph or something like that to be able to see where the pockets... Can you show the radar on the tablet? What do you get on the map settings? Yes, you do. So you can show the weather radar. Right, I need to pay attention now. Just leave some black lines on the tarmac. Of course, we're only announcing, aren't we? We're not having a conversation.
Oscar Zulu traffic Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta, taking off runway 23 east departure.
There's some impressive lines I left on the tarmac. Okay, landing lights white. I thought I put the taxi light on earlier. Interesting. Well, maybe I started talking and it distracted me. It's not unknown. So put the heading bug on the direction we're facing. We'll at least, based on us being at 400 feet, let's just double check that. Yeah, that's correct. Let's go and put this on 1400 feet for a target at least. We'll go and preset heading mode on the autopilot. Again, I don't think it will take any notice of the climb rate. I think it takes it at the time you activate autopilot, but we'll see. Okay. Rotate. So 900 foot initial climb, and then they'll tell us the actual climb, and we'll be looking to turn right by the look of it. No, left even, sorry, looking at the GPS track. There we go, 1900 feet is the cruise altitude then. So let's go and set this to 1900. And just a nice gentle sweeping turn. The taxi light can come off. We'll turn the landing light off in a moment. Turning as we go. Look at the flight director. Hasn't got a clue, has it? So there's the GPS track over there, so we'll put ourselves on an intercept course with it. We could do a direct too, of course. Here comes 1900 feet. Let's go and trim the airplane out as we get there. And centre the heading up, autopilot on. And let the airplane fly itself. So it's going to bring us back over to the GPS track automagically. And we'll start playing silly games with the mixture again. And we're over stressing the engine, but we can bring that back. So 25 or 2490, yeah, that's fine. Let's pull the mixture back, keep an eye on those RPMs as we do so. Just want to save some fuel really. So we're looking at the fuel gallons per hour versus the RPM versus the airspeed. So if we wind it right back, it doesn't make a huge difference, does it? But we'll save quite a lot of fuel. Okay. So Alt R 1, 2, 3. Again, we're looking along the route for any red areas that we might have to go around. Whoops! We just flown straight through the GPS track. Let's put ourselves back on a intercept with it, and then just press the nav button. Go, so the airplane's going to corkscrew right and then left. Hopefully hold on to 1900 feet. And now we've done that, let's see where we are in the world. So we've just left from here. Set that as the departure. It's just pulling itself back round, look. So Cessna is where we're going, which is Lima Foxtrot Hotel Sierra. So we can search for that in LittleNavMap. Lima Foxtrot Hotel Sierra. Set that as the destination, so we can see. And all I'm looking at out on here. Oh look. Is it coming on the map? Can we see it? Is this it here? See, according to me, that's prohibited. But the simulator doesn't have it as prohibited. It would be red. Do we take the chance? Wonder if this will come up with any messages. Do you know what? I'm not going to take the chance. So Dark Dodger says, I think you can fly anywhere in the sim. No, you can't. I got penalised earlier for flying through prohibited airspace. But I think I'm being overly cautious here. I think it will be red on this display. I wonder if it was red on this display, if we were showing it. Can we show the airports? Airspaces are being marked. So why can't I see any airspaces in your stupid simulator? That should be showing me airspaces. Going to get mighty close to it. It should have been. It's almost like it's not showing the airspaces, isn't it? Because you'd expect to see a lot more on here. Map settings. It's not weather. It's the navigation data. Airspaces, obstacles. That I can't switch those on. Why is it not showing me the airspaces? Maybe it's just having a bad day. Okay, so we'll go parallel to our GPS track again. Just out of interest, while we're doing that, let's go to planner.flightsimulator.com, which is the... What appears in here is actually a web application, and you can use it in your browser if you weren't aware. So we are somewhere over Paris, aren't we? But what I'm interested in seeing is that's what should be rendered in here. I can't see many red ones. So if we go route, I have a feeling if you go in here, yeah, we can't save it while we're in the air, can we? Just a bit of a pain. You have to do it on the ground. So if we were to go and look in here, so it was LFOZ to LFHS. So that's the route we're doing. We were coming along here. This has got nothing there. So there's those sectors. We don't need to worry, I don't think. would just go straight for the destination. So where did I see the red ones? That I got a penalty flying through. They were probably over Germany, to be honest, somewhere. I know you get penalties if you overfly an airfield that's, you know, at too low an altitude. Interesting. Okay, we'll leave it. I'm not going to be able to find out easily, but we'll keep an eye on this one, hey? See if that appears inside the aeroplane as being a... So obviously, yeah, different sectors. That's what worried me about the ones we saw earlier, is we were within the height range of the restricted area, or the altitude range, I should say. I'm just thinking, the flight I did earlier, I was a much higher altitude, because it went IFR. I wonder... Most VFR traffic is 2,000 feet or below, isn't it? I wonder if it only takes into account the sectors if you are on IFR rules. That would make sense. Anyway, let's bring us back to the GPS track. So that's 3 presses. You can see the CDI sweeping in on the horizontal situation indicator on the left there. So 1, 2, 3. We're back to real time. And press nav. And it's gone straight to GPS, so it's going to corkscrew into the GPS route and then turn back again. Flight director's behaving itself now. $130 miles. As soon as we're lined up, we'll just straight line it then all the way and not worry about sectors. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Maybe it only plays the sector game when you're on an IFR flight, which I was earlier. What just happened? I think I just controlled the aeroplane accidentally. Or I've put some trim in or something. So what's coming on? The wind is from about our 4 o'clock. 13 knots. It's almost like I've gone to put some rudder input in. Yeah, I have. Look at the pedals. Well, I pressed a button accidentally on the keyboard and it deflected the rudder pedals. It just didn't make sense what I was seeing on the screen with how severe the wind was. Okay. So Alt R 1, 2, 3. Let's get this flight over with, shall we? No, there we go, we've got a penalty. We went into prohibited airspace, it does do it. I don't know how much that's going to affect our... I think it will affect my experience points, but I don't know if it will get a monetary fine for it. So you do need to be careful of prohibited airspaces, which means doing your homework on planner.flightsimulator.com, I guess, before a long route. So if we had looked in here, you'll be looking along your route for them, and this hasn't got that one now. That's not fair at all, is it? It's not even marked. Ah, look at the flight level. Is it going to show them? Can we choose which sectors we see? That's not fair, because this isn't showing it. So unless... this would mean somebody would have to have something like LittleNavMap to be able to see the sectors in detail. Which isn't possible if you didn't have it for 2020, because this has got 2020's database of sectors. This didn't show. I wonder if there's an option here that I'm not seeing or not realizing. That's zoom. Airports, nav aids, waypoints, airspaces. Ah! Altitude range. Ah, here we go. There they were, look. So you need to turn those on, so it's worth going and doing your homework at planner.flightsimulator.com to see if you pass through any restricted airspaces to avoid penalties. So it's getting more and more like, this is actually more like the real world. Having to actually think about your route. So we're going to need to climb, I think. Let's have a look at this. So we want the altitude plot, don't we? Yeah, look, we're going to hit the hills if we're not careful. Whoa! 500. Let's go and go for another 1,000 feet. I didn't check that, did I? That's on me. Obviously, LittleNavMap will show us that. So we're going up to 36, 3,600. Oh no, we're only going up to 2,900. Was I only at 1,900 feet? Oh, of course, yeah, that was the previous flight, wasn't it? So we're going up to 2,900 feet, which will get us clearance of 1,000 feet over these peaks, hopefully, or thereabouts. So, Dark Dodger, no, you don't need a third-party app. You can just go to planner.flightsimulator.com and you can do your homework before a flight, and you can switch on the restricted airspaces, and you can see if your trek goes through any of them. There does appear to be a bug in the in the sim that I'm sure it should appear in here. Airspaces. This doesn't have restricted airspaces listed, but even saying that, I'm not seeing them. Yeah, interesting. We're going very slowly. What's happening with... oh, we've got a 10 knot tailwind, so it's almost making us stall. So, shift space will straighten our view up. Shift E will lift us up. and then Alt R 1, 2, 3, and we'll zoom along again until we get to where we're going. Trying to hold on to 2,900 feet through the turbulence over the hills. I'll do a video, I think, about flight planning for career mode, just to highlight the things that it does challenge you on, and that will be the major takeaway. Was just, you know, go and double check your route and see if you've got any restricted airspaces. You will see them on here, but they're not always red, so they're not always marked easily for you to know that you shouldn't go and cross into them. But then from a professional piloting perspective, you should know which airspaces you are going to be crossing through before you take off. So you should go do the homework. And I know this is where this sim is going to run into trouble. It's dumbed down these career mode flights to such a level that people think they can barrel into them and just like we did, and just deal with whatever comes up without doing any homework. And it's turning that corner to making it less accessible, which I don't mind, but I know a lot of people will be frustrated and annoyed by it, that they're going to have to behave more like it being a real job and doing it properly. You can see the kickback coming. I think as soon as you know, it's not a problem. We're not getting alerts on crossing. I'm just going to put us back to real time for a moment. Menu. PFD display, enter. Can we go... Or maybe it's over here. I thought you could choose the messages you get. I'm sure it's in here somewhere. I'm sure you can get it to tell you with alerts when you're going into and out of or crossing sectors. Or maybe I'm thinking of the 530 that does that and not the G1000. There isn't a menu for alerts, is there? No. Yeah, maybe I'm thinking about the 530. So Jim Bridgman is saying, if you had done all the available flight training, would the training... I very much doubt they're going to be talking about sectors, are they? On the flight training. And again, if they did, they would be asking you within the cockpit to go and look on the tablet for information that is not rendering. There's obviously a bug there. Unless it's because of a layer issue. It's something I've done. So if we did terrain highlight, for example, and pull this pull this back. I have to keep an eye on where we are, 27 miles out. Do we get sectors if we view the green map? No. I'm just wondering if it's something I've done that's the reason we're not seeing sectors. Or if it's just a bug. So airspaces is on. I can't turn obstacles on for some reason. North up. What if we go heading up? No, that made no difference to it. It has a profile view as well, look, that's not enabled. So there's obviously more to come in this that hasn't been implemented yet. But yeah, it just means basically, I think it's quite a nice thing in terms of realism. Let's put this back on north up, by the way. North up. I think it's quite a nice thing in terms of realism to have to go and factor in or familiarize yourself with your route before you fly it. I think that's good. Does LittleNavMap, sorry, does Navigraph do it? So obviously you get this planner.flightsimulator.com comes with it, but it didn't show the restricted airspaces by default, did it? And it doesn't show your current, or will it show my location? Is that what that should do? I don't think that works. That would imply that it can read the sim, and it obviously it can't, or that the sim calls home. Maybe that's something that's coming in the future. But I think it's a nice addition that you have to go and look at the charts and figure out what's going to be on your route, so you're forewarned of what's coming. And you may then modify your route, and that leads you then into learning how to go and put the focus in. So if we go and get rid of this for a moment, so to come in here, for example, and put the focus in here, and you might want to put some en route waypoints in. Can we get back out of there? Yeah, we can. Which then, it's a bit of a rabbit hole, but it teaches you then about how to use the G1000. But yeah, we should really know all of these airspaces that we'll travel through, and maybe adjust our route to avoid them. But again, some of these could be high altitude airspaces. This is the thing, and by looking at it on the map you would figure that out. That's one of the biggest books I've got on the shelf behind me is about the whole air law thing and instrument flight and airspaces, and knowing the different classes of airspace and what altitude ranges they are. So it is a huge part of the IFR learning. So we're 20 miles out. Let's go and speed the sim back up. 18 miles, 17 miles, 16. I think I did it too many times, didn't I? 14, 13. If you speed the sim up too much, it can't keep up with the amount of reference points it's got, and the airplane starts waving around all over the place. I think that's normal time. I'm just looking at the seconds. Yeah, the seconds on the UTC clock seem to be passing at the right rate. But yeah, Jim's question there on the live stream is a really good question about, at the moment I think they may be leaving us, or leaving those that don't know, high and dry. They'll be taking penalties for things they don't know anything about. I may be wrong, maybe there is a whole training session in there about sectors. We'll have a look when we finish here. We'll go and have a dig around. So, before we get to our destination, we can zoom in on this map, and if we keep zooming we get to see the actual airfield layout. What you don't get, though, I don't think, is METAR for... well, unless you do, of course. LFHS Cesariat. Can we see the METAR for it? Flight details. If you go to briefing, it puts together kind of a rough operational flight plan for you. And then there's the fuel load. Obviously, if we chose an aeroplane, it would fill that in. But is it going to give us... There's the loadout, flight log, ICAO flight plan, weather service. Here we go. So, Cesariat. There we go. And... note, no METAR data available. Wonderful. So we just want to find out what runway. So when we get communication, although, and we might be dictating to it what's going to happen. But we can guess from looking at the wind. We've just arrived at Cesariat. So we need to announce.
Lima Foxtrot Hotel, Sierra Traffic Cessna Golf.
Runway
November Victor
36.
Sierra Delta 5 miles northwest 2900. For inbound to land runway 36.
So what it wants to do, look, is turn... Follow traffic pan. No, we're not going to follow the traffic pan. We're going to turn 180 degrees in a moment. We'll get a bit closer. Get about 2 miles out. Or a mile. The only problem with having the sectors on in LittleNavMap is when you hover over them, it shows pop-up panels. So something that is worth looking at, though, is the elevation. So we'll drop to 1800 feet immediately. So there's the runway. We're on heading mode. No, we're on GPS mode at the moment. So let's get the heading bugs going in the direction we're going. Go heading. Turn ourselves south. And we're going to ignore their pretend traffic pattern and do our own. It's going to be broadly like theirs. We're just looking to get perpendicular with the end of the runway, extend downwind a bit, descend to 500 feet above ground level. So we said that, yeah, so we want about 1400 feet by the time we turn to final. So we're coming down to 1800. Let's go. Okay, so there's the runway. Let's go manual. It's easier just to fly it, isn't it, than program a system to do it. So remember what we said, 1400 feet. Let's just go and double check. I've just shortcutted calibrating the altimeter to the correct barometric pressure for the local environment. So we're going to extend out beyond the final marker, so we come through it straight in line with the runway. We want to be about 1400 feet. So we're just giving ourselves more time. Look, we are parallel to the pretend pattern, but we're giving ourselves more room. Let's get the landing lights on. Oh, we always left them on, so taxi light can come on as well. Descend a bit further. It's the wrong way. That's 1,400 feet as we straighten up. We're still saying hi on the Pappies though, look. That's interesting. I don't know what their logic is of how far out they put the final markers. So if we just descend down a bit more steeply and drop down onto the proper approach.
Lima Foxtrot Hotel, Sierra Traffic Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta is on final runway tree 6 to land.
Okay, so we'll just try and hold 2 reds and 2 whites on the Pappy lights and keep an eye on the speed. Oh, we've gone low, look. A bit more power, which will stop our descent rate. There's a whole school of thought that argues between using pitch or power or both to control descent rate. But we're visual anyway. Flaps up. Roll long. It's going to tell me off unless I reduce speed, so I'll just touch the brake while we're rolling. Yeah, I'm just reading the live stream comments while we're rolling along. For some reason, earlier in the flight, it suddenly stopped giving any live weather information, which was really odd. I think some of it is because the particular times of day, potentially, I'm not sure why, the career mode flights don't always let you have live weather. I think sometimes it engineers the weather.
Foxtrot Hotel, Sierra Traffic Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta is taxiing to parking.
I don't know why I'm doing this so accurately. I think I can drive into the box from any angle I like. It's that rubbish turning circle problem with the 172 that just reared its head. Should we do the engine properly? So, what you would do in the real one is starve it and then turn the mags off. And this won't let me get to the lights before it shuts down. We did a pretty good score on that one, but we knocked out some aviator performance with the airspace, so it knocked 25% off. So I don't think that takes a monetary hit. Then it's just down to your what would you put it, your profile, your prestige. Respect the condition. What on earth that means, I'll never know. I wonder if it explains it in here. Respect the condition of your aircraft. No. Maybe that just means if you've got a heavy load on board that you're going to fly, you know, the envelope appropriately. So yeah, that 30,000 has turned into 130,000 through bonuses. No skip bonus. Look at that. Bad weather bonus. So if we need to go looking for bad weather. I have no idea what these numbers mean. Presumably it's for bragging purposes. I haven't got a clue. We were going to go and look at something when we got back in here, weren't we? Was it the specializations or something? I haven't even looked at this, to be honest. Some of them are ticked. So, aerial advertising. Score flight seeing or skydive aviation missions with B or above. Okay, so you just have to complete the requirements to unlock the special missions. Trouble is, the monetary reward for doing them is garbage. So I get, you know, they've added it because they're fun things to go do. But if you're a bit mercenary like me and you just want to make the most money possible on the fastest return, because I have no doubt the thing everybody probably wants to try and do is get the heavies, get the big jets, and fill them up with rubber chickens, taking them to Hong Kong or something, and make millions and millions at it. So if you look in companies, at the moment I've got this company. So, oh yes, we were going to say about selling the Cessna, weren't we? If I go manage company on my company, and there's our aeroplane, manage aircraft. If I was to... Oh, I can't sell it at the moment. Is that because it's the only one I've got? So someone's saying there about a company insurance bug. So our little company's doing quite well at the moment. Look, we're up to 367,000 credits. So there's our gross and there's our net at the moment. We can change the name, okay. It does check the name for naughty words, let's put it that way. That's not going to stop people being creative though, is it? It's putting numbers in for letters. Density areas, what the... Oh, is this where you're going to make the money? So in the winter, if we're live, we need to go and look up missions. So this is the one thing I've not understood at all. When I first started the career mode, I vaguely remember specifying areas I would like to work, and I probably said at the time the UK, obviously, because that's where I am, and maybe Germany, because I know there's just tons of airfields out there. But then how would you get to go flying missions somewhere that is not enabled on the map? Oh, so there's a job that runs at midnight then. Just reading the live stream comment from Stuart there. There must be some sort of job then that breaks. So if I was to right-click somewhere, so you can fast travel. That was a left click, by the way. So let's pick somewhere a bit more sensible. Let's go for Reykjavik. It's Keflavik down here somewhere. It's on the corner, isn't it? Yeah. So say if we did that and go to the mission list for Keflavik. Oh, maybe there's nothing at this time of night. Or maybe that's because I'm not there. Yeah, I'm just wondering whether it's worth me spending the money and taking the hit to go and fly some flights around California maybe, or around New York area. I bet there's... Although it says on the world map, doesn't it? There was a view that showed us where the hotspots were. So if we go back into missions, where did we see it? Hide list. Oh, I'm getting more and more lost. I'm just getting tired, I think. It's in the company page. Okay. So if we go hide list, back to HQ. Go to companies. All companies. Manage company. Density areas, that was it, wasn't it? So that will tell you for a particular season. So it's winter at the moment for me in the UK. But winter isn't the same. Oh, you have to think about the season in that country, don't you? So Australia is in summer. So Australia is the place to go. Go and fly up and down the Gold Coast. No, it just takes money to get your aeroplane and yourself to a country, and then you can start flying around, I guess, and live in hotels. So if you fly into an inactive area, it gets active when your mission ends there. That makes sense. No, Dodovanki, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce your username. Your English is very, very good. No doubt superlative compared to my attempts at whatever your language might be. So, yeah, don't worry. Anyway. That was interesting, wasn't it? So I guess the main takeaway this evening is you can make a lot of money really quickly just by doing the full flight and ticking all the boxes. And the other takeaway of the evening is it's worth going into the flight planner just to see what sectors you're going to fly through. Because it does show them. And you really need to see those restricted sectors. So on this flight we just did, they were the red ones. Yeah. Ground to 3,700 feet, look. It's probably a missile battery or something. Live fire area. 30, yeah, ground to 3,700 feet again. So if we climb to 4,000 feet, again, you don't have to go round. We could have climbed. But again, if you're getting into the rules and regulations and everything, and different countries are going to be different, if you want to climb above 2,000 feet, are you really VFR anymore? And again, it's going to depend. And it gets really nasty really quickly, depending on where in the world you are. And you know what that altitude is, at which point you're not allowed to just follow your own route. There's a really fascinating video, just for anybody that's watching. There's a really fascinating video with Steph from Australia, where he came and visited the UK and flew around the perimeter of the UK. But some of the early flights, he did special YouTube videos about it, about just following UK aviation law. And you know, and he was tutored on it and had someone helping him out, and he still struggled because obviously he's used to flying around in Australia. But his channel is fantastic, by the way. I'm not sure I'll be able to find it now on the flight. Does anybody know it that's on the live stream chat? The guy that flies the SR-22 around in Australia, he's fantastic. Brilliant communicator. And he covers loads of subjects that are really pertinent to flying in Flight Simulator. Especially these little career mode A to B flights. But all these subjects we've been talking about are things that he was grappling with when he came and flew over here. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for tonight. We got down in one piece. We made loads of money. We're figuring out how to make loads and loads of money. That's the important thing. Yeah, Stephen Drury. Jury. Is it Drury or Jury? But yeah, go set everybody that's watching, go find Steph's YouTube channel. He's absolutely brilliant. Right, I'm going to leave it there for the evening, and hopefully you enjoyed that. And we've had a bit of a dig round of flying that last one a little bit more accurately, and it showed up in the money, didn't it? So I think it's good that Asobo have done this. The career mode, I know it can seem, the further we get into it, the more facets it's showing that you have to take account of when you're doing your flights. You can't just go and jump in, you have to go and have a little look at the flight plan and see what sectors and so on. It's going to be good fun. Anyway, I'm leaving it there. I'll stop waffling. See you again soon.